welcome back to Systems That Scale. Today, we're diving into the future of hiring and how startups can build world class teams without the sky high salary costs by hiring remote staff. I'm joined by Ravi Bharathi, founder of House of Staff, a company helping founders cut salary expenses by up to 70% while still accessing top tier talent around the globe. We're talking about why so many startups struggle with hiring, the untapped potential of global talent, especially in India, and Ravi's proven 3-step process for scaling fast with remote teams. If you've been wondering how to grow your team without breaking the bank, this episode is packed with insights you will want to miss. Hey, Ravi. So glad we are finally connecting here.
It's nice to see you again.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. I was reading your post on LinkedIn, especially recently, the one that you said not hiring from India is the real risk, which I think is a really bold statement, but true. I've personally worked with really great creators and contractors from India, and their work ethic is really escalated, especially for at least being in the States, the cost of hiring contractors globally. How would you explain your business and what exactly you do?
Okay. Hey guys, I am Ravi Bharathi, like Sarah mentioned. I run an agency called House of Staff. So what we basically do here is we help digital marketing agencies in the US, UK, and Germany hire top tier talent for about 50 to 70% less cost than if they had to hire locally, right? For example, an agency, if a digital marketing agency in the US had to hire, let's say, a paid media buyer, 5+ years of experience, they would have to shell out at least $50,000 to $60,000 a year in salaries for that one particular person, right? Whereas if you could hire from India a person who would work full time remotely in your time zone with the same skill set, or in fact higher, you could hire them for about $27,000, right? Which is crazy. That's like 50% savings in your salary expense, which you can reinvest it into other parts of your business, or in fact hire another set of hands. Because most of the companies, they face two major problems when it comes to human resource, right? One is how slow the hiring process is, the amount of time it takes. Number two is the cost it takes. And I'm here to solve both. I'm cutting your cost by 50%. I'm promising you to place the candidate that you need in less than 20 days, 21 days. Right. So best of the both worlds.
Yeah, definitely. And how would you explain the talent specifically in India?
Okay. Usually, maybe like 10, 15 years ago, most of the companies that came to India and hired, they hired only for all these manual data entry, rote work, the mind numbing work. But now what's happened is the Indian population have upskilled themselves and they have the same skill set that a person in the US has, right? Particularly in terms of marketing. So the reason why companies like Bank of America, Accenture, they're setting up their offices in India and operating from here is because the cost of living is cheaper here, which means if cost of living is cheaper, then there is cheap labor. So that's why they have the capacity to come to India, set up their office and hire locally. Whereas if you don't have the capacity to come to India and set up an office to hire locally, you could hire remotely from India, right? Which is the same thing. You just have to pay the same salary or the price for a person in India who would work. You don't have to pay the US price.
Yeah, definitely. And those are some big costs that you're helping companies cut. So I can see how valuable your services are. And then, not just cutting the cost, but then knowing the value of the service because, I mean, just from personal experience, I've worked with video editors, content creators, website developers, a lot of different tech positions of contractors from India, and their work ethic is amazing and they're fast. Their turnaround time is fast, their technical skills, like they're always using like the latest technology or the latest apps, at least that I've seen in video editing and stuff like that. So I think that you have something really great going here with House of Staff. Can you share what sparked you to start this company?
So when I was in college, I was interning at this video editing agency called Ash Media. We were working with a US client, and that particular client wanted to hire editors from us, like full time editors. They spoke to my boss, like, actually, if you have good editors, if you can please share their profiles, I want to hire them. And what I basically did was I set up a test edit. postal job on LinkedIn, screened them, spoke to them, got on a call, put them through a 3-step screening process, and finally gave their work to the client in the US. And they instantly hired because they were already pre-vetted, right? And when I spoke to my boss, actually, he was like, boss, this is something you can do as full time, and people would actually pay for this. And that's when it sparked, and started off doing placing video editors from India with media production agencies in the US. But then for some reason, I stopped it because the demand for it went down, and I could no longer close them because of AI, introduction of AI and stuff. And that's why I moved on to marketing, because that's a much broader scale and that total addressable market is higher.
Yeah, definitely. And so are you still hiring video editors, or what types of roles are you placing right now?
No, I don't do video editors anymore, but pretty much anything a digital agency needs on the delivery side, right? Be it performance marketers, SEO specialists, Amazon PPC managers, even media buyers with 5+ years of experience across platform, Google, Meta, TikTok. So yeah, these are the roles I currently hire for.
Nice. And do you focus just on like social media platforms and websites, or what type of marketing do you support with?
It's mostly paid media and SEO.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, and I can definitely see a big market for that because companies with a website, they need the SEO to
Right,
understand the importance of having SEO
right.
established. And then the paid marketing, finding a media buyer is not cheap. I mean, I was
It
looking
is.
internally and gosh, it was like $10,000 a month for, like you said, a 5+ year media buyer. I can't imagine.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so it like being able to think outside of scope and thinking, if it's like 10K here in the States, to find somebody with equal experience from India, I think that would be a huge win for any business.
Exactly. That'd be like 2.5K a month, like I said.
Oh, wow. That's totally
It's crazy.
reasonable for any type of startup. Would you say that you primarily serve startups, or what type of businesses are you supporting now?
I mean, 100% of my clients are digital marketing agencies. We haven't been able to close startups for some reason, but 100% of my clients right now are all the digital marketing agencies.
Other digital marketing agencies?
Yes, yes,
So your clients are other marketing agencies
yep.
and you're helping them with their marketing?
No, I'm helping them with staffing. I place these marketers in their company because all these
Gotcha.
digital marketing agencies would need these performance marketers who would work on their campaigns, right? So I would place them in their team.
Gotcha. And do you work with a certain niche of marketing agencies?
Mostly paid media and SEO, like I said, like I mentioned, but we don't work with like people who creative agencies with content, etc. Because that is something that cannot be done remotely from India. And I also have this philosophy where if I had to hire someone in my business, I would hire only if they can save me money. So, sorry, save me time or make me money, right? Otherwise, there's no point in them working for me if they cannot save me time nor make me money. So that's exactly the philosophy I follow when I choose the niche I want to do. So all these performance marketers basically help these companies help these marketing agencies make money by running the campaigns efficiently and increasing the return on ad spend. So yeah, I would only work on these niche.
Okay. And for the paid marketing, do you handle everything from start to finish as far as the creatives and the copy, and then fine tuning and tweaking them and then managing it and all of that for all channels?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I do.
Yeah, that's really great. What type of staff are you? I mean, not what type of staff. Do you just source staff from India, or do you have staff in different countries as well?
Only from India. India is a huge country, right? India itself is like Europe, like as big as Europe. So I only source candidates from India, but I do know other agency owners who source candidates from the Philippines, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh. But I do it specifically only from India because the access I have of the talent pool in India is crazy, and I don't have the need to work with, look for talent outside India.
Yeah. You have enough talent in your area, in your country, that you don't
Yeah,
even have the need to
yeah,
look elsewhere.
yeah.
That's great. And how do you find the companies that you work with? Are you primarily referral based right now, or do you source these candidates, or do you have like a connection partner of some sort?
Right. So initially we used to be referral based, but what happened was with referrals, I cannot actually predict how many clients am I going to onboard, or how much money I'm going to make, or how much
Mhm.
money the company is going to generate in the next 3 months or 6 months later. Like I cannot actually predict because referrals, they come and they go, they come and they go. It's like a way. That's why I recently started email marketing, email campaigns. So that's what I've been doing, and my closing rates have been very good. And
Oh, that's
right now
great.
I'm able to predict, like at this month, I would have so many clients. I'd be working with so many people, and HOS, house of staff, would be generating so much in revenue.
Yeah, absolutely. I say it all the time, but we're being referral based is great. I was referral based for like 3 to 4 years and I stopped my sales pipeline. I was like, hey,
Exactly.
things are going good. I don't need to, find any new clients. And then, little by little, they start to leave. like,
Yeah, yeah,
like
that
you
happens.
said, you can't track your revenue. You can't, measure your success because you don't know if these clients are going to churn or whatever that, process looks like. And to be honest, I mean, I talk to recruiting agencies all the time, and I was even talking to someone yesterday for like C-suite executive search, and all referral based, and they're adamant about just being referral based, not doing any sourcing and relying heavily on being word of mouth. But I can kind of see both sides of it. But I mean, just from my experience, I wouldn't turn the sales pipeline off. You have to have some sort of means to continue to get those leads in, even if you don't need them, as fast. You don't need, a sales call booked every day. But hey, if you have one sales call booked a week, you close, one extra client a month and do it
Yep,
slowly, at least you're keeping that process going.
yep, yep. Totally agree. So, but what do you do? What's your strategy like to acquire new clients?
What was it?
What is your strategy like to acquire new clients? Do you also do emails or LinkedIn? What do you do?
Yeah, to be honest, I worked those 3 years I was referral based. I served primarily health and fitness coaches in the online space. As a personal trainer, I started my own business, online fitness coaching. And then I ended up being a business manager, COO for six-figure business coaches in their business so that they're not stuck in the day to day. And I thought I had to be married to that niche, and I kind of felt stuck because there's only, I don't know, the market, there's not too many health and fitness coaches that realize like the need for a business manager. They're like, just hire a VA, they're cheaper. But a business manager is the person in between the team and, in between the founder and the team, having that middle ground so that they don't have to be in the business all of the time. And I felt a little limited. It got to a point where any of my offers were too expensive. I had a $97 SaaS offer and a $3,000 like lead generation offer with ads and all of that as like a media buyer and setting, and that was too expensive. So it's like I was kind of stuck because I had felt like my offers weren't good enough, and then finally I realized, well, maybe it's not my offers, I think it's my niche. So after that I decided to change niches, and once I started focusing on in-person businesses and actual like agencies that actually have a business and a team, I kind of found my value again in a weird way. And I started sourcing these leads through cold email because now I could target them by emailing or even warm calling or using tools to scrape these leads because, online fitness coaches, I can use some tools to scrape Instagram handles, but they wouldn't give me email addresses because not everybody puts their email address in an Instagram bio or a LinkedIn bio. So it was really hard for me to find these leads. So now I do cold emailing, use scraper tools, find those leads, cold email, and then follow up with them and build relationships too. So a little bit kind of like what you're doing too. Are you
Yep.
using any, I guess we can kind of chat about that a little bit. What type of systems, or we can chat about AI. What type of AI are you using to help kind of source the companies or helping you with your day to day in your business?
All right. So in terms of systems, I get my leads from Apollo. I mean, I used to get my leads from Apollo, then I moved on from Apollo to A Leads. Have you heard of A Leads?
No, I use Apollo.
Okay. A-Leads is a new company which I used to work with them. They started off with just a Slack channel, just you know, uh, giving out leads for like 50 to 60 people a day, and then now they're like pretty big. So for leads, I use A-Leads, and to send out the emails, I use something called Reach Inbox. It's something like Instantly, but It's much better. It has AI integration into it, and I don't have to actually manually write the emails and the sequences. I just have to do the initial email, and it would automatically do the sequences by itself. And I also build bots on Octopars. So Octopars is a place where you can build bots, and it goes when I deploy it, it goes on a person's LinkedIn and scrapes all the information that is personal to the person, like if he has posted a post about his family or his new achievement or anything related to which I can comment or compliment on. It gives me those information, and using that, I have an intern who would just do the first lines for the quality.
Wow, you have quite the system. I'm really intrigued. You said you use, okay, A lead, so that would be comparable to Apollo.
Follow, you're right.
And then what was the other one? It was mail inbox?
It's a reach inbox,
Reach
similar to
inbox.
instantly. Yes, reach inbox.
Does Reach Inbox have like an AI SDR that responds back to the emails for you too?
Yes, they do.
Nice. I know Instantly just started it. I haven't really looked into it because I use Instantly,
Correct,
but
correct.
I'm always looking, for something else that's a little bit more advanced, and is already doing it and maybe doesn't require as much like probing, like as much
Right,
prompting, and
right,
that's kind of
right,
where Instantly is right now. Like you have to
right.
really teach it.
Yep, yeah. But instantly, I think it's quite expensive. Reach inbox is good
Yeah. Okay. And
in
then
terms
what
of
was
pricing.
the third one that you said you
Uh,
used?
Octopars, Octaparse, Octopars,
OCTA.
Pars.
Oh, Octopars.
You
And
can
that one is like AI agents.
not AI agent. It's like building a bot. So, for example, you mentioned that it's difficult to find the email IDs of all the people that you want to get. It's not mentioned in their Instagram. It's not mentioned in their YouTube videos. It's not mentioned on LinkedIn. But if you build a bot, someone could build you a bot on Fiverr for like $10, and if you deploy it, it would just scrape all the things that you need. For instance, if you have to, like I said, for instance, you need someone who you need the leads of CEOs of all the recruitment agencies. You just have to train the bot in that way, and it would take out all the leads or their names on the LinkedIn IDs of all the CEOs of all the recruitment agencies from your profile.
Interesting.
Maybe I'm
Use,
not maybe I'm not explaining it the right way, but you should explore it. It's very good.
yeah, for sure. It kind of sounds like something that I use N8N.
N8N. Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't heard
It's
of
like
it.
a workflow type of software where you can
Uh,
connect different tools, kind of like Zapier.
exactly, exactly. Yep,
Yeah, and then,
that's right.
I can tell it to, scrape I give it the leads from Apollo, and then it can filter those, verify the emails and all of that. Is that kind of
Yes,
like this
yes,
process?
yes, 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 yes.
Okay. It's good always to know a different, platforms to use because I'm actually in the process of setting something up like that for someone. And yesterday I was researching, if there's any like newer, easier tools for me to implement, so then I can, when I pass it off to the client, then they can manage it a little bit easier on their own because some of these workflows are very technical with the back and
Fair.
forth that you're sending to different servers and stuff. And do you use any type of tools for like the staffing side, like to find the placements? Like I know some people they like to use Juicebox AI, or do you have anything like that you use to help sourcing?
Yes, we do something called weekday.
What was it?
We use something called weekday, weekends, weekday.
A weekday.
Yeah, weekday. So what it basically does is, let's say I get a JD, I get a job description, and I want a particular kind of candidate. I just have to put the filters in it, and it would give me all the information about the people who fit in that criteria. Let's say I want someone, let's say I want a paid media buyer with 5+ years experience with Google Ads, Meta Ads, someone who's graduated from, say, a particular college and who's from this particular region. It would give me a list of profiles with all the information. All I have to do is ring them up.
Wow, that's really great. I was talking to someone this week and they were talking about Juicebox AI, and I know a lot of people use Juicebox, but this was the first person that had mentioned that they felt like the prompting of Juicebox like actually said that it can take from like 30 minutes to like up to 3 hours to be able to prompt it in a way where it'll give them the refined candidates. And they'll go into Chat GPT, paste the job description, put a prompt back, and it just wasn't developing the type of applicants that that, they were looking for the position. Would you say that weekday is a little bit easier than that, do you find, for the prompting?
Weekday, there is no need of any prompts required. It's based off of LinkedIn. So all the filters that I put in would, would use LinkedIn as a database and give me the candidates. And it will also give me the candidates what people actually looking to hire or change their jobs or move on to different better positions. And all I have to do is just call them and let them know that this is an opportunity that exists.
Wow, that's really great. You have some really cool tools that you use. Yeah. Would you say, I mean, since you've started in this space, have you seen any ways that the industry is changing? Or, I mean, it could be just like the industry itself, or we were talking about tools operationally, any systems that you're finding that have been changing and you have to kind of revisit?
I mean, with the introduction of AI and stuff, am scared that I would lose my job and I would make no money in the next, maybe in the near future, but that's way far off. And I think integration of AI in one or the other form is the best possible solution because you're always competing with other agencies, right? If a particular company does not want to work with you, it means they're working with someone else. All you have to do is just do better just do little better than all the other agencies. And if AI can help you, it can help you. If not, it cannot. So
Yeah. Do you feel like is going to replace recruiting agencies at some point?
they could, for sure, they could. But interesting question. They could, but I mean, we just have to evolve with the time, right? We just have to do the things that make sure that we always stand out. With AI, of course, it could replace recruiting agencies. But let's say someone from the US wants to hire from India. For sure, yeah, they could replace. But again, there's always a place for everybody and it's still far off, like it's not as good as maybe in the next 10, 15 years, maybe true.
Yeah, if
But
they
again, hiring is a very human process. Maybe
yes.
maybe AI could help you with screening your CV, putting you through a soft skills interview, but again after that it's a completely human process, right?
Mhm.
Let's say for at House of Stuff we have these five screening process. One is soft skills, one is CV screening, case study interview, technical interview, and the final culture fit interview, right? Number one, AI could replace CV and soft skills, screening for sure. But case study, yes, yeah, for sure. AI can analyze the case study that a candidate does and remove the human from this process. Yeah, for sure. But again, at the case study interview, the I would like to talk to the candidate and actually know the thinking process of the candidate rather than just um, hiring them based off of a case study. I need the thinking process of why they did or why they mentioned this. The process is what matters. Four is the culture fit interviewer. I don't think AI can, not very soon, maybe in the near future, but can actually analyze if a person fits in this work culture or not. That's still far off because AI is not emotional. AI doesn't understand human interaction as well, but it is getting there for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I love that you mentioned about the human interaction. So a lot of people kind of I asked because you mentioned that maybe the fear of being replaced by AI could be evident. I agree that recruiting it's a human interaction and you need to hear, you need to see the candidate, you need to feel them out, see if they feel like a good fit. I love that you have a 7-step process for hiring and you actually start off with the soft skills. That's something that I recently read an article about how more companies are looking for the soft skills because they believe that if the candidate has the soft skills but maybe lacks some of the technical skills, if they have the drive and the vision and the passion to learn, then, the technical skills can be taught to them. They can learn, they can adapt. So I think it's interesting how you start with the soft skills, you go through, a process, and you're actually the first owner that had mentioned about case studies. Like you have a whole call about case studies and
Yes.
it's not just them sending you like a letter of recommendation or client wins or testimonials or other case studies that they've had, but you actually have a conversation with them to hear them, and they can actually articulate
Yeah.
how they've supported other businesses. And I think that's really great. I guess I would ask, what led you to create this like 7-step process?
It's because it's just the quality of talent that these agencies that I work with demand. I cannot give them someone, tier two or tier three people, because, like I said, I used to work with reference, right? The reason why I used to get a good reference is because the candidates that I placed were actually doing a very good job than the candidates that they were hiring locally. So they kept coming back to me, right? So yeah, and in order to find these high quality top notch candidates, I had to put them through these process, right? Because that's how I differentiate myself from other agencies. Like, if you have experience working with other recruitment agents, what they would do is they would just send you they would spam you with 50 resumes, and the agency owner, or the chief of staff or the HR in that particular company had to sit down and again shortlist these candidates, right? That's again a waste of time. That's not something I'd want my clients to do. I put them through these 5 to 7 step process, and then I just give them three pre-vetted, highly trained, super highly skilled candidates, and they just have to choose from these three.
Yeah, that's really great because I mean, personally, I get why companies want to see letters of recommendations, but as a candidate, somebody actually asked me recently, and I'm a business owner myself, and so when a potential client asks me for a letter of recommendation, it's kind of hard because you have to reach out. Maybe it's like old employers or old clients you've worked with, and you have to ask them for, hey, can you write a letter of recommendation for me? And regardless if you're a great employee or not, people are busy, and sometimes it's kind of hard. And then you have to follow up with them. Hey, were you able to send this letter of recommendation? Is this awkward process. And I actually recently I went through that for I needed three references, two business or two professional, one personal, and I actually ended up reaching out to like seven people just because I didn't know if those three first people were going to send them, so just to cover all the bases. So I value that you do this type of case study interview, aside from just these recommendations. I think that's great. I know some companies, maybe it's I don't know, like a perception, but being at least in the States, I think sometimes people think that they want to hire locally, they want to hire, in the States talent because I don't know, maybe they just feel that the work quality or ethic might be more elevated than those in, overseas. But obviously, we know that's not true. For those that are founders that are a little skeptical about hiring globally, what would you say is their biggest hesitation? And then how do you help them overcome that and actually end up hiring you as their staffing agency?
Right. Number one, the biggest hesitation that they have is communication, right? If the candidates in India, I mean, we all have accents here, right? So if one of the major objection is that, what if the candidate that they hire is not able to communicate or articulate properly with the clients, and or with that is one thing, and we resolve this by screening them, putting them through a soft skills screening stage, where we check their English language communication, numerical ability, problem solving ability, etc. Number two is the time zone. What if the candidate that I hire from India or I hire from overseas is not able to work at the same time zone as me? So again, we make sure we hire candidates only who are comfortable with working in the US time zone or in the UK time zone, whichever time zone they're being placed. Number three is that they have this inherent or bias that the candidates other than the ones hired locally are not as skilled enough, right? So have you heard of IIMs in India, Indian Institute of Management?
No.
I mean, they're loosely compared to Harvards and Stanfords in the US and the UK.
Wow.
So I recently placed a candidate called Yeshi, agency in UK, and she was from IIMs, right? So I only hire from these colleges, candidates who are passed out from these colleges. So which means they're already super talented and they're super high skill, and the backing of they come from this particular college, like the brand that, for example, if someone says I studied in Harvard, it's like a brand, right? They don't even have to say anything else. We know that they're good at whatever they do. So it's the same thing here.
Yeah, that's great. How do you bridge the gap, between the communication? I know some agencies, they place the talent, but then they also have like an account manager or like a project manager between like you, or not between you, between the client and the like the placement, like the employee. Do you have anything like that in place, or is it just the you just place, the candidate with the employee and then they kind of take over the communication that way?
It depends though. It depends on what the client wants. Sometimes, if a client is hiring for the first time remotely overseas, what they would usually do is they would want to sign a contract directly with the candidate and not through House of Staff. So at that point in time, what I do is I just collect my finder's fee or procurement fee, what they call in the US, and I would just place a candidate, and the candidate would be in direct communication with the client. Sometimes if a company has experience working remotely, I mean experience hiring remote employees, then what I would do is I would hire the employees on my payroll, and there'll be one project manager who would be managing the communication between the client and the candidate.
Okay. So would you say that you're more contingency based, or do you offer more retained search?
Retain search, yeah.
Okay. Have you found, I was talking to another person this weekend, they were asking me for retained search firms, what has really helped them in their business to really like grow and scale? Would you say that there's anything specifically that has really supported you with your growth so far?
I think it's just the quality of candidates that are there here, and once the companies in the US get a taste of those candidates, what once they know what they can do at such a low cost, I mean it's like a no-brainer that they have to work with me again.
Yeah.
Like you have no other choice. Like I am cheap and at the same time as skilled as someone you would hire in the US, right? Why would you hire someone in the US or in the UK or in the Europe? Why would you pay so much? Instead you could hire from here. It's the same
Yeah.
thing.
It just makes sense. It makes sense. They just stay on retainer. You don't necessarily need to you start off as like a contingency based. So I see the value in that. I think it's great. It's like a no-brainer, like you said.
Yep.
And if we were to fast forward to the end of 2025, where would you love to see House of Staff? Are there any goals that you're excited to hit?
Yes, I currently have what 12 employees placed, and at the end of 2025 I would like at least 100. And if I can do 100, that'll be a good place for me to be.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you said you had 12 so far? 12, so that would mean, I don't know, my math. Is that like 78 more employees that you would have to place by the year end?
Yeah, 78 more, yeah.
And I think that's totally doable. We're only, I mean, a little bit less than halfway through the year. How are you? Do you have anything like in the pipeline to be able to find these candidates, close these deals?
The way I look at it is the number of emails I send, the number of people who respond, and the positive responses from their calls booked and leads closed. So that's how I look at it. And when I calculate it, I would have booked at least 1,000 from there. Yeah, I think the number is doable. Maybe I'm pitching far, but it's definitely doable.
Yeah, totally doable. And I respect that you mentioned about the metrics and KPIs because not too many people realize it's a numbers game. If
Yeah,
you
it's
want to close X amount of deals, X amount of clients, you need to do X amount of outreaches. And so if you want to get to that goal faster, then you need to ramp up your emails,
exactly,
add some more email domains. If you're sending 100 emails per day, 10x it, send 1,000
exactly,
emails per day, and then you
exactly.
can speed up this process a little bit more, get more calls booked, and close more deals. And I think, at least when I'm speaking to some of these types of agencies that have been primarily word of mouth based, and when I tell them about I'll create an automated lead gen system. We'll scrape the leads. We'll send cold emails. We'll get you calls booked. They're very hesitant because they're like, how will I know this works if they've never done cold emails before?
Exactly.
What would you say to those people? Any insights, recommendations, any tips to somebody who's starting off with email outreach?
For someone who's just starting off, just buy 3 domains, buy 3 emails per domain, and scrape 200 leads off of LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever your ICP hangs out, and send them a hyper personalized email. Do a research, get a person, hire a VA, do research about a person, everything, research up everything about a person, right? So when I used to do emails and write the first lines, I even used to find out if this particular person has a child, or when was he recently married, or was he divorced, or what is he going through in life. So I used to get all these info, then write a line, and I would get an instant reply. Because if you can find things that only few people can find out about a person and write and include it in your first line, that you will get your reply rate would go so high, your open rate would be high. And then from there, you see if it works. Like the first 200 uh, leads, you can look at them like a test campaign, testing whether they work or not. If they don't work, then you've done it wrong. You have to do it again.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for that insight. I think those are some really great tips and suggestions for our listeners, especially anybody who would be new to hiring remote talent, new to hiring Indian talent, and then also anybody new to business development and, outsourcing leads. I think that's all been really helpful. And Ravi, this has been such a great conversation. For any founders who are curious about hiring highly skilled talent but don't know where to start, and maybe they want to connect with you, what's the best way that they can connect with you?
They can connect me on LinkedIn. My name is RAVI BHARATHI. You can find me on LinkedIn. Give me a connection request. Send me a DM. I'll help you out.
Yes, that's perfect. Well, thank you so much again, Ravi. This has been so much fun. A really powerful conversation on how global hiring can be for startups and growing businesses alike. And if you're listening and you're a founder who wants to explore remote hiring, but you're not sure where to start, you can connect Ravi directly with LinkedIn. Link his LinkedIn profile here with this episode. And until next time, everybody, we'll chat with you soon. Thank you so much, Ravi. This has been so great.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you so much for doing
Thank
this.
you.